welcome into the Cactus Golf Podcast, episode number 65, right?
65.
65.
Yep.
I gotta start asking every time now. I don't know.
We haven't had an interview in a second.
I
We got
think so,
one
but-
next week, so it'll throw up in the mix again a little bit, but we're safe right now.
65. What do we got going on? My birdie buddy, my par-saving pal.
That's right.
I stole that from a podcast that I listened to. It's if you haven't heard to it, it's good. It's a good podcast. It's Fairway Rollin'. It's by the Ringer Podcast Network. It's Fairway Rollin'. It's another good podcast, that golf podcast. He's like, my birdie buddies, my par-saving pals, my eagle enthusiasts. I like it.
I like that.
That's how he starts off his episode, so I like that. Thought I'd steal it for an episode. But yeah, shout out to that podcast, I guess. But yeah, we got some news and notes, a couple quick news things we got, and then we got the first review of the year, the Sentry review. We got the Sony Open preview. Then we got some betting corner. So pretty standard episode we got this week. So let's go ahead and dive into it, unless you got something to start off with. So yeah, let's go ahead. This past weekend, that was the weekend, right? Saturday, right?
It was Saturday.
Saturday, we participated in the Odin Golf and Save Par Instagram page, also podcast as well, right? Mm-hmm. Their co-event, they had a night golf shindig, is what they called it. A night golf shindig.
Yeah. It was fun, man. It was pretty cool. I never played night golf before.
Nope.
And I was honestly kind of nervous going into it, because like I've always heard people say like it messes up your swing, like the depth perception kind of gets a little weird, because you can't really see your club. You can see the ball, obviously, so it's glow in the dark, but it was a lot of fun. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I told you on the first tee, I was the first one to tee off in our group, and I was like, man, I got like minus 100 odds that I whiff at least once. I just did not. I mean, it was the first time I played in first time I played in like 4 months. So I only swung twice in the last like 5 months, let alone night golf. And we had hit a few on the range prior to that, and I felt fine, but it was still light out. And then I got up there to hit it, and I'm like, man, this is going to be, I don't know how this is going to go. Ended up like my tee shots were generally pretty good, I thought. And then I had like one or two good chips, but then like right off the bat. But then the rest of the chips where it was like I was chunking it. I think that was where the depth perception kind of came in. I was chunking them a little bit.
I think I think we noticed right away on the first hole, the first takeaway was this ball is not going far.
Yeah, the ball, yeah.
I mean, it definitely, like if you ever played night golf before, like the ball's just different than a normal regular golf ball. Like the ball doesn't compress.
Like the core obviously is different because it's got the light in it.
Correct. So we noticed pretty quick, it's like you have to add an additional club, if not two, depending on the length sometimes.
Yeah. It was like a shorter course, too.
It is, yeah. I think the first hole was like, 120 yards?
If that, maybe.
And I think I played a P wedge off the first hole, and we all ended up short. I think one of us
almost
hit the green.
Almost every tee shot we were all short, except like one on like the very end. One of the partners we were with that went over.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I think it also helped too. We had a pretty good team that we were with. The two other guys that we were with, like they were pretty relaxed, and like so it wasn't. I don't know. Like I never actually played in. You've played in some events out here. I've never played in anything before, so it's my first ever experience actually playing in like an organized event. And so I didn't know what to expect going in, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little more, relaxed than like the kind of the easy golf ones that I did. But yeah, it was like, pretty laid back. It was fun. I'd do it again for sure.
Yeah,
it was cold. It was a little cold.
Yeah.
We're pampered out here, so it was like 30 degrees, no sun, little wind. So it was a little chilly for us. But,
for sure.
So that was good though. Yeah, it was fun to see some people win some prizes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Talk to some other influencers and some other people that are in the golf world and on Instagram and whatnot that we haven't met yet. So
that was the cool part too. Like, 'cause we met some people that we didn't follow or I'd never seen before. And now like I'm following them. So of course we follow them recently, so we're seeing their content pop up, early in the feed. And there's some pretty cool people in there. I think like the biggest one was that the guy that we were with who had the podcast as well. Never heard of the podcast before. It was like Behind the Brand, I think is what it's called.
That sounds right.
Yeah, which is the Instagram name is a little bit different, but everyone was really cool. It was ended up being cool. The tacos took forever to be made, but that's my only grief with the entire.
I didn't get the name of the taco truck. I should have, so I crossed them off.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it was the tacos were a little messy too, but it was fun. It was a good time, and I definitely would do it again. Yeah, for sure. I want to see some more of those pictures and videos, though.
I know they like put a little one out there with like one of those on the last hole. It was supposed to be the last hole, at least 9. They had the whole setup. Yeah. Well, they're taking all of everybody's video. I only saw they only had like one person.
That's it.
But they took 50 of them.
I mean, they took everyone, obviously. So like. That's my only. I'm gonna give them till the end of the week, and then I'm gonna hit them up and be like,
hey, come on, at least give me mine.
Where's the? Yeah, exactly. Could we skip to mine maybe a little bit? That'd be cool.
Well, yeah, because you had the long drive on that one too.
There was that hole too. Yeah, like that was a little nervous. Like you had like a production crew there, like the guy up on the ladder. They had an extra light.
Man, I was like too cold to be nervous. I was like, man, I'm freezing. I'm just gonna get this ball out of here.
I know, someone taking photos, someone taking a video, and like. I think you teed off first.
I did because I was the one. I grabbed the ball. You can turn the balls on.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like, I'm gonna take a ball that's not turned on because we have the light above it so I can see it, and then turn it on when I hit it. Yeah. And they were like, "Ooh, nobody's done that yet." I'm like, "Heck yeah!"
It was pretty cool.
It still didn't get made on the page.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck I'm waiting for that video. I really am.
I mean, it's a lot of good content. They could. I mean, they might just splice it up and use it throughout the year or something. I don't know.
Probably. Who knows? End of the week is really how they have till the end of the week, and then I'm DMing them.
But yeah, let's move on. So we like one more little piece of news here. I think actually I did see something else other than this, but it's kind of along the same lines. Yeah, Tiger and Nike are officially gone, split ways. So I don't know if Tiger's gonna like sign with somebody else or not.
There's a ton of rumors that I've seen that. Like the most recent one was that he's creating his own brand. It's kind of the same thing what Tom Brady did when he left the NFL.
Yeah, like TB12.
I think he left, but didn't he retire, create the brand, and then came back for a year?
I think he had it before. I think he had it when he was in New England.
Oh man, geez, okay.
Yeah.
So that was a big rumor, and then you've got other ones where they're saying he's going to sign with Grayson, which Charlie just signed with. I don't know if it's signed with, but he's wearing their stuff. And then some of the people are saying TaylorMade, and some people are saying FootJoy. And then someone said Malbon, but I don't.
Nah,
why would they, like, if they're signing Tiger, that'd be the first announcement they would make, not Jason Day.
If I had to bet on any of those options, I would say he's going to make his own brand.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe.
I would go that route.
Yeah.
For sure. I would put that at like minus 400 odds. Like the rest of them pretty far out there.
For sure. I would definitely expect to see a TW brand popping up here within the year. So, we'll see.
Another thing, Matthew Wolff also is no longer with Nike. It's a far, far cry away from the last news. But he's no longer with Nike, so it's kind of interesting. I wonder, what Nike's doing. I mean, I think they're just going to try and get out of the golf game entirely. I mean, I like their apparel a lot. I know it's kind of like a thing that you don't wear Nike a whole lot, but I mean, I think their apparel is generally generally pretty good, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this in the last podcast. Like, last that we've heard was that, another brand's picking them up, at least the distribution of it here in the United States. So I don't know what that's
just the distribution is odd. I mean, I can't imagine the quality not going down if they're just, offloading it to another company to do this, selling and whatnot.
Well, there's like, I've learned this just in other careers in life that like there's a lot of weird things that happen with brands. Well, they'll sell off certain divisions of it. So like, let's throw a random brand out there, Calvin Klein, for example, right? They've got men's underwear, they've got women's apparel, men's apparel, they've got handbags, they've got shoes, they got everything, right? But not Calvin Klein, the brand sold off certain divisions to other companies to run it, essentially. They have the licensing rights, essentially, and they control 100% of it. So they just cut a check for $100 million, and now the original Calvin Klein company no longer make, let's say it's footwear, for example. They can no longer make footwear because this other brand bought the rights to it. But as a consumer, you don't know that. You think Calvin Klein's Calvin Klein. You have no clue. But it's completely run by a complete separate business that you have no idea about. So it's weird how it's done. But I've learned that in different careers in my life, that to be true. So it's just like I said, as a consumer, you have no idea that's a thing. I mean, kind of a similar example, but not really because it's not like divided out. But TaylorMade's owned by a different company, right? And that, I think it's a holding company or whatever. I don't even know what it is really. A shell. No, I'm just kidding. They essentially own TaylorMade.
They own it, but they might have kept like the people that were like a part of that company.
Could have.
Like the higher ups that basically made all the decisions. They might just have absorbed it and just
for sure,
everybody, or like at least most people.
I would assume they would do that just because you have someone that's running this company and making successful decisions for years. I don't know why they would just come in and fire them and just clean the house.
I imagine it's similar to that. Maybe not. I don't know, but yeah. So that's interesting. I don't know. We'll see what Nike does. I mean, it's just kind of odd how that's played out. I mean, just last year they signed. I think we mentioned this last year too. Tom Kim. Big deal there.
Yeah.
So interesting. I don't know.
There's a lot of I'll get really suspicious if Rory or Scotty Scheffler jump because they're both Nike athletes. Then I'm gonna start scratching my head okay, maybe Nike.
Brooks, is he still?
Brooks should be as well too. You're correct. Absolutely, you're correct. Yeah. So if they start dropping off, then I'm gonna be a little suspicious. Maybe think they're pulling out of golf.
Or I don't know if they have to wait out the contract, the length of it. I don't know. I mean, if it was Nike, I'd imagine they'd be able to get out of it if they're doing it. I think it'd be harder if Brooks wanted to get out of it.
Yeah.
But if it's Nike initiated, I assume it would be easier, but maybe not. I don't know. But it also, I saw this. I didn't have this in my notes, but I saw this earlier today. Obviously, we saw Jason Day sign with Malbon Golf, but also Charlie Hull from the LPGA did. I don't know if you saw
2 LPGA players. I think signed with Malbon. Yeah,
I saw at least Charlie Hull. Her on Twitter, X, whatever.
Yeah.
Is the outfit was more my speed. It was so Jason Day's was crazy, right? It was ridiculous. It was parachute pants with some crazy design on it. At least one of the days it was. I didn't see the rest of the days.
Yeah.
And it was bizarre. I wasn't about it. Charlie Hull's was a little better. It was more standard, traditional. That's the one I saw there. Okay. And I was like, okay, that's more my speed. It's more traditional. It looks a little cleaner, not as crazy, not as loud.
Yeah.
Okay, I can fuck with that. I don't know if we cuss on here too much. I don't know. Keep track, but that's my. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I don't even know you know that one?
I'll say John June Lee.
Sure. And Jesper Parnevik.
Oh yeah, I saw the Jesper one. Yeah.
Well, also, so it looks like there's 3 LPGA plus Jason Day that they've signed. So. They've been spending some cash.
I wonder if they came out with Jason Day's crazy one just because it was the first tournament and they were just trying to make that big splash. Okay, we're gonna give you the craziest thing we got just to get it out there. Maybe now it'll be a little more tame. Maybe it'll be a little more. Maybe they just wanted to do that just to
could be.
Be what is it called, peacocking, right?
Yeah.
Just be as bright as crazy, get some attention, and then maybe tone it down just to get everybody talking about you.
It could be. I was like. I don't know. That brand confuses me. I just I don't personally see many people.
I've seen a couple, but definitely not a lot.
Yeah. Definitely not a lot, but a couple people I've seen, and maybe it's just geographically more popular in certain areas versus others.
I would expect it to be somewhat popular out here in Phoenix.
I would think so. I'm sure California is probably huge.
Cali probably more so. Yeah, I would expect
maybe somewhere
Cali.
on the East Coast. I don't know. I just don't. I don't see it that much. I see it all over social media. I just don't see it too much in person. So I don't know. We'll see. I see way more Nike golf than Malbon golf. That's for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. And then there's a ton of niche brands out there. But that's what I had for news and notes. Did you have anything else before we get into preview or review? I'm sorry. So we can go ahead and get into the. Let's go ahead and get it ready for the socials. Okay, so if you want to clip this, we'll get started right here. The Sentry review. Christian Kirk comes away victorious. He defeats a pretty stacked crowd, 59 golfers, all Everybody but Rory. I think the top golfers other than Rory were all there.
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that until after the tournament was over. That I didn't notice that Rory wasn't there.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't see an explanation, but yeah, he wasn't there.
Because in the previous year, if a top player missed, and if they were allowed to miss one, and then they got fined like $2 million or whatever.
Yeah, he missed the RBC Heritage after the Masters. And
so I went and looked and saw on the PGA's website if there are any specifications about players missing events, signature events this year. I saw nothing. Didn't see anything this year, so I don't know.
Yeah. Christian Kirk, he takes the first signature event home, first event overall home as well. Rounding out, we can go over the top 10 here real quick. So we had Chris Kirk, obviously. Sahith Theegala comes away solo second. Jordan Spieth solo third. Ben Hun An solo fourth. And then for T5, we had Sung Jae Im, Brian Harmon, JT Paulston, Colin Morikawa, and Scotty Scheffler. And then Jason Day and Xander Schauffele rounding out the top 10 there. They're both T10. Did you see Sung Jae Im's kind of a little thinner?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, he lost a little bit of weight.
Is that why he broke the record this week?
Broke most birdies.
It must have been it.
Most birdies in a tournament. It's interesting that he got that record in he's still up there obviously, but he didn't win. You'd think most birdies you'd think would win, right? Yeah. He must have had a lot of bogeys, I assume. I didn't see the scorecards, but
no, he finished. I think Saturday messing up a little bit. He shot a par 73 on Saturday. I think that's what kind of screwed him up a little bit from not placing a little bit higher, but. Yeah, you would think setting a record of most birdies, that's absolutely insane not to win the event too. So I don't know.
Also an event that didn't have like a record low score either. I think the record low was like 33 or 34 under in the PGA, something like that. So kind of an odd dynamic there. It is also a weird course, whereas I said par 73, so maybe that played into it a little bit. But the top 10, the takeaway I had here, Jason Day, last year we saw him kind of a resurgence. So maybe not a fluke. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe he's here to stay a little bit longer. I know he was on my no bet list last year, and I didn't do it. I didn't lose money on him. I know that because I didn't bet on him.
I lost money on him for sure.
But he's still on the list. But the eraser's not in my hand, but it's on the board. I'm looking at the eraser. We'll see. Okay. Other than that, I didn't really have any other takeaways from the top 10 here. I did have some other notable people that kind of struggled. Do you have any takeaways there?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a decent amount of the tournament this weekend, and just a couple more takeaways from. I mean, I have other notes too, but the biggest thing, number one, golf coverage still sucks. It's so bad. It's so horrendous. It drives me crazy. It's harped on every year. You think eventually they'd figure it out. And I'm not too well in the media world and rights to ownerships of view, whatever. I don't understand it too much. So just as a fan, it still sucks tremendously. But obviously the event was held in Maui, and there was last year was the fire that happened in Maui. I'm not kidding you. If we were playing a drinking game for how many times they mentioned that, we would have been absolutely toasted. Because, don't get me wrong, terrible thing that happened, but I heard it at least 25 times.
Well, it's like the ESPN thing, for NFL draft. I remember a few years ago, ESPN got in hot water. I don't know, have we covered this, or we talked about this off air maybe? I think I might have talked about it off air. But yeah, every time somebody was drafted, they had to go into the worst thing possible to happen. Yeah. It's when they were doing the background research, have you ever had a sibling or someone close to you die? And they just dive into that hardcore. And I'm look, I mean, a lot of people getting drafted had kind of tough upbringing, so most of them had something bad happen. So it was 12 picks in a row that are talking about somebody a tragedy, and it's look, that is a big deal in their life, but it's people come to sports to get away from that kind of thing. So let's not just hyper focus on it, come on.
Yeah, and this is the best day of their lives. They're getting drafted right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so they harped on it so much, but I did think, which was pretty cool, the conditions of the course was, it was immaculate. Yeah. It was so great.
We talked about the views a lot. It's incredible.
Oh God, I did and I talked about the thing. It's mentioned they've been harping on this the entire time, but I think it said almost half or over half of their groundskeepers crew lost their homes, and they still had that course looking literally perfection. absolute perfection. So that was like one takeaway. I was like, wow, that's actually really impressive. But then they said it like 60,000 more times, and I'm like, okay, this is getting less impressive now. But anyways, that was my one takeaway. Besides, I've got some other stuff too, that from watching the tournament. I know you see other notes too, but
I just wanted to go over like the strugglers. We went over the top 10. So some people that finished, pretty low. Obviously, there was no cut here, but so everybody played all 4 rounds. But we had Aubert, Aubert, Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler, Hideki all finished pretty low. But again, Aubert, like you did, I think was it at the
Hero?
At the Hero, right? He had like a pretty tough week overall, but Sunday he shot a 63 again this week. Yeah, so it's like, what the heck's up with Sundays in him, man? If he can be in contention again, he's gonna run away from everybody on Sunday next time he's in contention, because he loves him a Sunday apparently.
He does, absolutely. The only other things I had to talk about was going into Sunday, Akshay was, I think, solo second, if I'm not mistaken. And just lost it on Sunday, unfortunately. So that was kind of sad to see. I do like someone, not as well known, but kind of well known, because he's more well known on the social media aspect of golf, being able to compete. That's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, he's up and coming. Like we saw Chris Kirk. He's a little older, but he's kind of making a name for himself. He won the Honda, I think it was last year, making a name for himself after some like mental health struggles and whatnot. So some lesser known guys kind of making a name for themselves here. But that's all I had.
I got a couple more things real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd say I really watched it this weekend, which I was actually excited to be able to sit down and watch a little bit of it. Jordan Spieth had so many chances this weekend, especially on Sunday, to be able to.
Well, I know he missed like a 3.5 footer, right? Yeah, I know that was like the highlight.
That was a big one, but like he had an eagle opportunity on Sunday, and not a far putt. It was probably maybe it was 12 feet. I think it was like 25% chance to make or something like that. Was what they predicted it at. To be able to put himself back, it was either to solo lead or to be co-lead, and missed. 12-foot putt. It's easy for me to sit and look at a screen and say, how the heck do you don't make that? But like, he had opportunities this weekend, and the mic was pretty hot on him. Just getting extremely upset with himself and just getting in his head. So typical Jordan stuff. But I want to say that, and then Max Homa set a record this weekend too. He set a record with a 477-yard drive, which is the longest in ShotLink era.
But it was also like the wind.
For 100%. 100%. Like,
I think he went to Twitter afterwards.
He did. I have a tweet too. It was like, he said that it's crazy that it was an uphill shot and the wind was in my face too. Like, obviously it was not a 477-yard like carry or, typical hole. Like, watching the tournament, I couldn't even imagine myself playing there. I had to bring at least like 3 dozen balls, because the every single hole fairway is surrounded with like drop offs or just crazy vegetation that you're not finding those balls. And the hole that he hit it on, it just rolled for days, and it was downhill and then just kept. It rolled and rolled and rolled. So, but it was cool. It was nice to see, and of course, typical Max fashion. That he says something like that. It's
not the only tweet he had. He also went to Twitter. I don't know the timeline if it was after that tweet or not. But he said Tyrrell Hatton was the most underrated golfer in the world. So Tyrrell Hatton, my boy, getting a shout out.
Did you see on the PGA's Instagram they like had some of the players write their 2024 season in one word? Did you see that? Like,
I can only imagine what Tyrrell put.
He put 2 words. It was like, oh man, I want to get it right. It was either because like Aubert put like smile or happiness, and he's like smiling in the picture, and like there was some funny ones. Okay, I gotta pull it up because his made me laugh because it was a typical fashion for him and what his response was. Oh, where is it?
I hope it's got some like.
So like Tony Finau, his one word is strong. Ricky Fowler is validate. So those are pretty good words, right? Its excitement was Aubert. See him, he's all cheesing and exciting for it. Jordan Spieth is consistent, but
oh god, that should be Jordan.
Yeah, 100%. But Tyrrell Hatton was stay angry, and then he's just smirking in the photo too. Like these were hilarious to see those.
Stay angry.
Stay angry. Typical Hatton.
And then another thing I did see, actually, I think they mentioned this on that podcast I mentioned, Fairway Rolling, but Scotty Scheffler, how he mentioned maybe he figured out his putting from the Hero. His first 2 rounds, Thursday, Friday,
yeah,
he gained just over 2 strokes putting, I believe, and then Saturday, Sunday, he lost like 5 strokes putting. So it was like he got off
atrocious over the weekend.
Got off to a good start. And obviously his ball striking was, up there as it was all last year. But then he kind of lost it on Saturday, Sunday, missing some putts. So.
Yeah. I did. I was watching a little bit of him struggling on the green too. So, anyways, 2 truths and a lie. You ready for it?
Yep.
So for our season, not PGA season, you got 2 right and 5 wrong. Total, you're 13 right, 18 wrong. So here it is, Chris Kirk. He enjoys playing the piano. He plays a mixed bags of clubs and balls. He has earned over $40 million on the tour.
Did you go back to see what your questions were last time?
No.
The Honda. That would have been. It would have been over a year ago because the Honda would have been in the fall. No, it wouldn't. When was it?
Honda
would have been
like a few weeks after the Masters, I think. I thought.
No, it's before the Masters.
Okay, yeah. It's whenever when they're in that quadrant of the United States.
So yeah, it's like probably end of February, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, it's after the California swing. It's in Florida, so it's after the California. At least it was last year. I don't think they changed up the map too much. Let's see. So read them off again.
Enjoys playing the piano. Plays a mixed bag of clubs and balls. Has earned over $40 million on the tour.
Man, I don't have any sense, really. I didn't get to watch a whole lot other than when I was over here for a little bit. So I don't know about the balls or the bags. The bag of clubs.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying. Piano. I just have no idea. Piano is pretty random, so I guess I'll try and roll that one out. $40 million. He's been around for a minute, so I would say that's probably true.
Excuse me.
So I'm going to go mixed bag is the lie.
Dang it. He's only earned $29 million.
29?
$29 million.
He did take a break for a while, I think, when he had those mental health issues, so makes sense.
So what I thought was interesting was... Yeah, he taught himself how to play piano. That's not what I thought was interesting. What I thought was interesting was he plays Callaway and TaylorMade clubs and a Titleist ball. That's literally every brand.
I mean, the ball doesn't surprise me having a different ball. But the different clubs is interesting. Like, which clubs is it?
It was, if I remember correctly, he played a Callaway driver, and then I think it was...
Yeah, I mean, having a different driver, I don't think it's bizarre. I mean...
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's bizarre having a different driver.
Well, no. I'm adding up this list. It was like a Callaway driver. He had TaylorMade woods, and then I think he went back to Callaway for those wedges, or for his irons. I forgot what his wedges were, and he had an Odyssey putter. I think it was the weird thing was his Stealth woods that were in the bag.
Huh.
But it was interesting. I don't know. I thought it was interesting at least.
Yeah, I mean, some players have different. I know we've mentioned it before, but yeah, like I know a couple players use that old Nike 3 iron, but that's just like one club. I don't know about a full like kind of back and forth bag like that. I don't know how many players do that. I mean, I think having different woods maybe is, I think, something I've seen before. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, the wedges is definitely another thing. It's like people have different wedges for sure. I think, especially some like custom wedges, I think is a pretty popular thing. But yeah. Okay, well, mark that. Put that in the L column.
A lot of players have different putters too. Like
definitely,
Scotty just came out.
I mean,
like,
they go
he
back.
has that random brand putter.
He went back and forth too. Yeah. I mean, Rory's gone back and forth. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go ahead and get started with the Sony Open preview. The Sony Open in Hawaii is what I think they have it officially named as. Sony Open in Hawaii preview. Defending champion Siwoo Kim. I spelled champion wrong in my notes there. I don't know if you see that.
Oh, yeah.
But we do have our defending champion coming back.
Chamapion.
Siwoo Kim will be in the field this week, unlike Ram last week, obviously. I think it's pronounced Wale Club, Country Club.
Sure.
Wale Country Club, I believe, in Honolulu, Hawaii. We're going back to a pretty standard par 70 here, 7,044 yards. Full field, not 59 golfers this week. Got 144, 36 of them played last week. So we have some notables here. Still, top heavy field. So we still have Aubert, Tyrrell Hatton, Matt Fitzpatrick, Brian Harmon, Corey Connors, Billy Horschel, Justin Rose, Hideki, and then Will Zalatoris coming back again. He definitely struggled in the Hero that we went over a month or so ago.
Yeah.
But he'll be trying to get back on the swing of things here again. No pun intended there. But yeah, so we got top heavy field. Then we got some people lurking down farther in the field as well.
I did see Gary Woodland back in the mix.
Kevin Kisner as well.
I didn't know he had brain surgery.
Yeah, I saw that come out today.
I did not know that.
I mean, I didn't know it until today. But I saw it.
I had no clue. Kisner was hilarious on NBC, actually. He was actually pretty good. Like, on one of the ones where Jordan missed 3-foot putt, he's like, just hit the ball, Jordan. Like, he took way too long. Like, it was actually pretty good. Like, listening to him talk was, from a player's perspective, was really interesting because he's familiar with the course and, like, he knows what's a good spot to hit out of, what's not a good spot, and, like, he was even noticing things in players, like their takeaways and stuff, how their takeaways a little bit different, their alignment's messed up. Like, he was talking about stuff like that, which is really interesting.
Well, I think it's just good to have some newer faces there. For
sure.
I mean, like, some people there, like, I know, like, Nota Begay, the third, he's, like, a legend in the area, but, I mean, he's just kind of been around for a while. No, like, hate to him, but it's just good to have some, like, fresh voices, some fresh ideas there, especially if you've been on tour recently, know the players a little more. So have some, just different takeaways is always good. So hopefully we'll, obviously he's in the field this week, so he won't be doing that this week, announcing it, but hopefully get him back there and get some more voices and more minds like that, announcing it and make it a little more interesting, some better takeaways there.
Yeah. I've got purses 8.3 million. The favorite's been switching all week. So it started off as Aubert as the favorite, and then yesterday it went Aubert, Hatton, Matt Fitzpatrick all tied at plus 1,800. Now it's Hatton as the solo current favorite at plus 1,600. And then you've got Aubert and Fitzpatrick at 18, and then Harmon at 2,000.
I was surprised Aubert came out initially as the betting favorite.
I was too.
Especially since he didn't play super well last week.
That Sunday round, like you said.
Yeah, that, and I think just the hype overall, I guess. So yeah, interesting that he came out. Yeah, obviously it adjusted, like you said, but yeah, interesting that he came out. As the initial betting favorite. Definitely a lot longer. I think Scotty last week was like plus 550. I think when I saw it, I think Aubert came out at like plus 12. I think I want to say plus 1,200 or maybe 14, something like
14,
that.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot longer, obviously, than expect. But yeah, so you want to go with our picks?
Yeah, I'm going Matt Fitzpatrick this week. Never played in this tournament before, ever, never, ever, ever. So. I obviously had a great performance last week, T14 finish. At one point, he was close to the top 5 on Sunday. I know that because I was following it for my pick last week.
As was I.
Yes. And I don't know. I like the way he's playing right now. I just have a feeling. It's really just a feel for this week of my my pick. So nothing really, statistical here.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to go, obviously I picked him last week. He had a good week, definitely. He didn't get my pick for overall outright winner, but I'm going to go with Corey Connors. I think you had him last week, no?
Yes.
So I'm going to go with him. I guess, did you have him as your pick last week? Oh, so we just flopped from last. We just flip-flopped.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick?
I had Fitzpatrick last week, so we just flip-flopped. I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize either.
So Corey Connors has, 17 of the last 25 winners of this event did play the week prior at the Sentry. So he's got that going for him. So does Fitzpatrick, though. And then so you have his last 4 starts at this event. He's finished 3rd, 12th, 11th, 12th. So some good history here at the course. and I think he's just one of those players that is a great ball striker. One of the big factors I saw at this course is just keeping your ball in the fairway. If you get off into the rough, you're going to be really penalized. So
which is a good idea.
Just keep it in the fairway, and you're going to be definitely advantageous here this week, more so than other courses. So and Connors is one of the best at that. So I'm going to go with the Canadian.
I actually was wrong. Last week I did not go Corey Connors.
You had him in your betting.
I had him in my betting quarter.
Just
top
not
10
overall pick.
Yeah, I realized that I said that didn't make any sense. All right, betting quarter last week. I went over minus 100 units. You had plus 11. What hit for you?
Well, I had what was it again? I had 2 technically. I had a Spieth top 5, and then I also had Morikawa top 5. But the dead heat basically. I mean, I won the bet, but I basically didn't win anything.
Yeah.
I just got my money back.
There was a ton of people in the top 5.
So, yeah, I was sweating that. I mean, I had some really good picks. I mean, like I said, Matt Fitzpatrick was there, kind of all the whole way, all 4 rounds. Xander was there all 4 rounds. So I definitely had plenty of chances. Obviously came away plus, so can't be too upset. But, I had 2 technically, I guess, kind of hit. But, yeah.
Current standings, I'm at plus 143. You're at minus 424. So that's where we're at. You have 5 picks? 4 picks?
I got 5, yeah.
All right. Well, you won last week, so you kick us off.
All right. I'm gonna go with my first one. I'm not going any outrights. I'm going outright, but I'm not going any triple chances. Sorry, I'm not getting any weird ones really here. I'm gonna go start off with Joel Damon, top 20, plus 450, 20 units. So he kind of did a little better towards the end of the year in the FedEx Cup Fall edition this a few months ago. So we got back in the swing of things. He had kind of tough overall 2023, but kind of got some form back at the end of last year. So I'm hopefully can carry that into Wale Country Club.
I like it. I'm going with the familiar name, Tim Montgomery, this week. Top 20 plus 360, 22 units. He finished T12 here last year. So I just need a top 20 finish. Obviously, it's a pretty big field. Not a crazy competitive. A couple big players in there. I think this is his time. He can completely come out and at least secure a top 20 finish. Like I said, he did it last year in here. So why not do it again?
One thing I was looking at the board here. I wish they had better options for betting against someone.
Yeah.
Not that I want to be a hater, but yeah. For NBA football, you can bet under 20 yards, over 20 yards, over 80 yards, under 80 yards. I wish there was a more, instead of just top 20, you could be not above 40. You can there's a lot of miss the cuts, finish worse than 40th place or something like that.
Yeah.
I wish they had more options like that. That'd be interesting because it would definitely.
God, that'd be so much though.
It would be difficult.
There's so many
a lot
people.
Of options, yeah.
Oh my god.
But I would be interested in
maybe at least for majors.
Yeah, I mean, or at least events like last week, only 59 players,
Yeah.
But I'll get my next pick here. I'm going back to the Canadian Adam Svensson, top 10 plus 425 units. He's again one of those players that's really straight off the tee. He's going to take advantage of the fairway and the advantage that it gives you over not hitting the fairway here at this course, because it is really imperative here as compared to most other courses. So I'm gonna go with the Adam Svensson.
The Spence. I'm going Thigala as my next one. So obviously played well last week, and I'm going top 10 for Thigala plus 360, 22 units. I thought that was pretty respectable. A top 10 finish. Again, nothing crazy. Already played well. Let's continue that momentum going into this weekend.
Okay. I'm going to just go into my next one here. Aaron Rai. So he's another kind of an underrated player, I think. He, again, has good off the tee numbers that I like, that I'm really honing in on this week. And I just think his number at top 10 was plus 600. I thought that was pretty long for this field. It's kind of top heavy. Like I mentioned, those names at the top that are notable players in the field. But other than that, I mean, he's definitely, I would consider him, one of the top players outside of that main.
He had some good runs last year.
Yeah, I mean, he had some really good finishes last year. He's again a DP World Tour player, so he should be not too rusty. So I'm going top 10 for him plus 620 units.
All right, I'm going I bet you also too, if he does have anything in contention or if he's leading at one point, they'll talk all about his story about his iron covers.
Yeah.
They harp on the same stories every single year. Brian Harmon's my next pick. Top 5 finish, plus 450. If he finished T32 here last year, however, again, I'm going after people who played well last week. I'm going people that have the momentum on their side and they want it to swing into the next weekend. You'll see my next pick too. But like I said, Brian Harmon, top 5, plus 450, 20 units on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I was thinking about picking him last week. Just didn't get in the card. But yeah, he finished T5, so he should definitely have a good shot. Good shot this week to do something. My next pick is going to be Cam Davis. It's a top 10. I don't think he's plus 4,000 to do top 10, but it might be a really good bet. And I believe it'd be 400. 400 would be the bet. Top 10 plus 400, 25 units for Cam Davis. He's had success at this tournament last year. He finished, I don't have the stats in front of me, but he finished, I believe it was top 10 or 20 here last year. He's, again, another off the tee specialist, big long ball. He can generally keep it pretty straight as well. So, and I think he's, again, he had that kind of, we mentioned it last year a couple times, I think, after the President's Cup, kind of had a coming out party there, in a pressure moment. But I think he's due for a good year. I like Cam Davis, as the player. I think he's got some game. So I like the top 10 plus 400 there.
Chris Kirk, Mr. Piano Man, Mr. Mixed Bag. I'm going top 5 plus 550, 16 units. I said I'm riding heavy on people that succeeded last week on continuing over. So they're staying in the same state. They're just hopping islands. It's all right. It's going to be an easy transition for them. So obviously, and then last year he finished also third last year at this tournament too. So no reason why he can't secure a top 5 finish. Maybe go back to back. That'd be a great start to the season. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, maybe Siwoo he's in the condition to defend his championship. We saw that a few times last year. People won the events back to back years, so maybe that can happen as well. But I'm gonna go with my last pick. I'm going with my outright pick, Corey Connors. He's plus 2,200. I like those odds. I'm going 10 units on that one. I guess mentioned the stats and his course history here. I like the Canadian. Let's bring it home.
All right, my last one, triple chance. I got Obear, Hatton, and Fitzpatrick, plus 450, 20 units on this group. That's pretty much 1, 2, 3 on the top on projected this week. So I think I've hit pretty much everyone besides Montgomery. All my picks were within people within the top 5 that were projected. So again, also play well last week too. So I like it.
Yeah, I went I went almost none of my guys were in the top 5. None of my guys are top 5. Connors was the closest to the top. I went longer field. So there's more variance, obviously. Yeah. So that's where my strategy went. We'll see. But yeah, what would you say your number other than the triple chance? Which one do you think is going to win most likely to win?
I think.
I guess the shortest odds would be the easiest one to say.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's statistically, I think it's got to be Thigala top 10.
Probably.
That's pretty good. Montgomery, it's the same odds, plus 360. And Montgomery top 20. But I feel better about the Thigala top 10. But Montgomery's my ride or die, man. He comes out. I've won more money than I've lost with Montgomery, for sure. I have, for sure. Absolutely. I'll have to do the math on it, but
I don't know. You picked him pretty a lot.
Sure. I do. But I'm pretty sure I have won more money. Or at least I'm close to even.
That's what I mentioned last week. We need the board. That'd be good to see.
We do need that. But what about you? What do you think?
I think if one is gonna hit, Damon's my only top 20. I would say the one that I feel most confident about. Put me on the spot. They're all around the same. Rise is 600. The other two are 400, 450. Other than the outright, I would say the one if I had to bet heavier on and double down on units wise, if I had to do that, I would double down on Svensson, I think. Adam Svensson.
That'd be pretty cool.
I've picked him a couple times before. Just feel like it's probably one of those things that I've seen him in top of leaderboards, but just because you've seen him doesn't mean he's always there. It's just kind of like happenstance, one of those things. Like, so I don't know. Maybe that's my,
You said double down in my mind thinking that'd be cool if we had like a set amount of units in the season that we can use to double down.
What I've thought about before is like when I'm watching, it's like, well, it wouldn't be good for podcasting, but if we left ourselves some units to use to like make it bet live.
Betting.
I've thought about that, but like it wouldn't be good because we can't obviously tell you when we're doing a live bet. On the podcast, we're recording it before the tournament, obviously, but that's always been a thought in my mind when I'm watching.
That'd be cool if like we went on like Instagram Live or something and live bet it. I don't know. People would watch that. People watched Jerry, whatever his name is.
That was hilarious.
For however many hours.
36 hours, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they watched him to hit a hole in one, which is crazy. And then someone else duplicated and did it again. He hit a hole in one within an hour.
Well, that's what he said. Jerry was like, well, I thought I'd only be here for a couple hours, so I didn't even bring a change of clothes.
Oh, my gosh.
So he thought he'd only be there a couple hours. He got really close a couple times.
He did.
I don't remember how far in he was.
He went to sleep on the stream. That was
he
hilarious.
got an air mattress and went to bed in the simulator.
That was hilarious. That was honestly really funny to see that.
I like how he was like getting massages.
They were all into it. That was pretty cool.
That was so funny.
There's like, he inspired a lot of other people. Like there's other brands now out there that we follow on Instagram. Well, they're doing like lives for like their like during their lunch. There's a brand that we follow, Golf Roots. We had them on the podcast too. They do like a lunch stream where every day during their lunch they'll just hit on the simulator until they see they can get a hole in one. But they've been doing it for a few days and they haven't got it.
It's not as good if you're not like sleeping.
Yeah. If you're like super committed, people just buy into it more, for
funny.
sure.
Yeah, you can't just duplicate that. You got to find something else that's, something else. You can't just take what they did and redo it because it's not going to be the same. Most of those guys are just like so charismatic and so hilarious. So
yeah.
But that's all we got. We got betting corner. That's all we got for that. Got any shouts at the end?
No, I got nothing, man. I think I said we'll have an interview or an record next week. Other than that, just preparing. A lot of new golf launches recently.
Yeah, some clubs coming out. Yeah.
Callaway came out with a new driver, so did TaylorMade. I think Ping did, or PXG did, I think, too. They're pre-selling for it. Callaway came out with new balls. Chrome Tour, that was the name of it,
Chrome
too.
Tour. Yeah, I saw them were sporting the hats this past week.
Yes, Xander I saw wearing it, and some other people too. But, we put a little message out there for all our fellow high handicappers. Just gotta stay away. It's so tempting. It
was funny. My buddy that I played those AZ Golf Association events last year, he Snapchatted me and said he got like 24 balls for Christmas. And he's like, oh, this is going to last me 2 years or something like that. I'm like, oh my God. 2 years? I don't think he said, he was like at least a year, I think is what he said. I'm like, it's going to last me 2 rounds.
Gosh, 24 balls to last me a year. That would be like a good, I wonder if that would be a good like content thing where it's like, how long can a sleeve of balls last me? For like the average.
If you're like thinking about it too, it's almost like puts you more pressure 100%. On you, if you know it.
I mean, like if I'm playing on a public course, I'm hopping fences. If I'm hitting balls out, if it's like, a contest who can keep the ball the longest, I'm gonna figure it out. You gotta keep.
No, because then you gotta like play the actual rule of like, okay, you get 5 minutes to look for your ball and everything. You gotta play all the rules too if you're doing that.
For sure. No, that's all I got. You want to close us out?
Yeah, that's all we got. So make sure to comment, subscribe. I almost did it out of order there. Comment, subscribe.
I did.
Comment, subscribe. Rolls off the tongue better.
Leave
a review. Check out Cactus Golf Club, cactusgolfclub.com, and catch us next week.
Yes. See you guys.